Music, we're doing some music, some science music today. We're doing, am I here? Am I doing things? Are people in the chat? Are we doing something? Let's do something. Ah! What's going on? I can hear myself. Why can I hear myself? Please stop. Please don't. Okay, does that work now? I think I stopped myself. That was scary. I heard myself. Let's kick it off. Ooh. What is that? Is that 13-4 or something like that? I don't know what to do with that. Does that work at all? That doesn't work at all. That doesn't work at all. What are we gonna do? We're gonna lay down a pad. Even that doesn't work. I'm very confused today. That's what's going on today. I'm very confused. Let's do it again. Oh, what is going on there? I don't know if I can think this time. Let's see. Oh yeah. Oh, da 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 da. Switch into minor science. We're gonna sing about science. Gonna sing about science today. Gonna sing about it. We're gonna sing about science now. Science. We're gonna sing about science. Gonna sing about science today. Gonna sing about it. We're gonna sing about science now. Science. We're gonna sing about science. Gonna sing about science today. Gonna sing about it. We're gonna sing about science now. Science. We're gonna sing about science. Gonna sing about science today. Gonna sing about it. We're gonna sing about science now. Science. Oh, we're gonna sing about. We're gonna sing about science. Gonna sing about science today. Gonna sing about it. We're gonna sing about science now. Science. We're gonna sing about science. Gonna sing about science today. Gonna sing about it. We're gonna sing about science now. Science. We're gonna sing about science. Gonna sing about science today. Sing about it. We're gonna sing about science now. Science. We're gonna sing about science. Gonna sing about science today. Sing about it. We're gonna sing about science. Okay. Who's in the chat today? Peter Noddle, you guys, hello. Good day. What else we got going on? Who's here? We got Hi from California, Daniela Guerrero. Woo. Sheeran, isn't it do I have everyone highlighted over here? The reason? Oh, that's why. Whoops. Rather stop at 11 for hours again. That isn't what I meant to do, and you know it. It's just cause the YouTube doesn't understand the time zones. For some reason, I really don't know why. I'm sorry I tried, I really, really tried. Ann Smith from California, Sean Ale, hello. Alex knows 4 hours again, yo. Now you Kitty and Dreamer, you gotta go. Raphael's here, and so was Jonathan Haywood, what's up? General Peter Noddle, Alice, Man Goosey got here 5, your Fox suddenly won't play YouTube videos anymore. Anyone else have that problem? I think I do sometimes when I'm running my BAW things. Mina konina konnichiwa, Paragraph 86. Gonna sing about A.A. Bowser, gonna sing about hello from Norway. Greetings from Boulder. You kept me up too late yesterday. Is that because I said I was gonna Twitch and then I didn't Twitch? I'm sorry. It's very weird. It's like it's very strange to jam in 13.8 or whatever this is. Like whenever you get into ideas of what you're supposed to do, it's like, wait, I gotta keep count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1. You gotta like count. Did you guys talk on Discord for ages yesterday? 2 hours on stream plus 12 hours on Discord. Wow. All right. That's sweet. That's sweet. That reminds me of my university days. Yeah. I hung out with my roommate most of the evening. We played Portal a lot. Maybe I will try that sometime. So, how's everybody's day? I don't know. What should we do today? Sing with science? Do you have any suggestions? What we can sing about?
a syncopation, doing the music things. One beat of 13/4 over 2 beats of 13/8. Oh, Nathan is here again. People lying all the time in their beds. That's what we wanna do. We wanna have just a good time, hanging out on the Discord. What causes heat waves? It depends what kind of heat waves you're talking about, Ant-Man. One thing about waves, the heat equation isn't a wave equation, it's a diffusion equation. But I presume you're not talking about all the waves in the materials of heat, but instead weather. If you're talking about weather, I got news for you. It's mostly just the winds and things to do. Fronts, cold meeting warm, going round in fluid dynamics all around. Oh, sometimes we got warm air rising from the equator and it moves up through the tropical regions. Oh, falling down, making turbulence and earth, hurricanes and such. Oh, but I'm not really sure. I know at the poles there are things called polar warming events, caused by a sudden contraction of the upper layers of the stratosphere. But that doesn't really cause it to be warm on the ground, just makes the polar vortex break up all around and actually cause cold snaps down here in Montreal. That's when it gets really cold, like it was last week. Oh, I don't know whether the weather is caused by whether it is or not. I should learn more about that, make a video, science that impacts your daily life. Oh, the only other song I can think of in 13 time is Sunrise by Pliny. Pliny is pretty cool, I like Pliny, but it's confusing to listen to. Oh, not really thinking about it, at least I'm not when I listen to it. I just kind of veg out, enjoy the confusion. It's the same as when I listen to Jacob Collier's music. I don't really worry about what time signature it is, where the septuplets are falling. Just washes over me and I enjoy not understanding.
I have a song I wrote that's in like 13/4. It's not really 13/4. It's like 13. I don't know, 13 triplets or something like that, or like 13 measures of quick 3/4 or something, 3/8. I don't know.
Heather Roth 86 says weather is just complicated cause our lithosphere is inhomogeneous. Gas planets are much easier. Really? Is that why Jupiter looks so simple to look at? I guess comparatively to that, they got one spot that's lasted for like a bunch of hundreds of years. So imagine if we had storms that lasted 100 years. Maybe that would be easier to compute. Oh, Black Dog, this is some weird time signature also, isn't it? I don't know, never heard that, have I? Maybe you have, or maybe you haven't. There were certainly weirder time signatures than this. Go listen to Dream Theater, it just gets confusing. But at a certain point, it's not really a groove, like the dance of eternity. I don't know if that's a good thing to listen to. Like to chill out, it doesn't really have any sort of repetitive measures to it that legitimize the feeling of confusion you feel when you're listening to all those time signatures reel off themselves. Are you guys doing Discord at the same time? That seems difficult.
stream on Twitch with Discord the other day was amazing. I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. Although, I don't know, maybe I am gonna have to join the Discord then while I'm twitching. I feel like I would take over the sonic space. Oh, you guys are trying to talk, and I'm just like, hello, I am the voice of God coming to you on the Discord. Let's talk about what I want to talk about. We're not gonna bother with your particular wants and needs. Please play the dulcimer sometime. I will. Oh. Let's play the dulcimer. That'd be cool, actually. Whoa! That's very loud. Oh no, you know what's happened? The dulcimer is like very out of tune now. That used to be a C. And now it's like, I don't know what that is. That's just very out of tune. That's the problem with when it gets warmer or like the humidity changes or anything, the dulcimer goes really sharp. I'm not sure why. But like, it should be in tune, but I gotta fix it. Timsy shirtless Zach. Yeah. But it's like this one, I mean, with a piano, maybe it's because pianos have like a metal frame. That's the problem, this thing doesn't have like a metal frame to keep its shape, it's just wood. So, unlike a piano where like there's a metal box, but the harp inside is metal. Yeah. This is gonna change quite a lot with the temperatures and humidities. Alright, you wanna... That's a good idea. Let's do that. I mean, the 13/4, the song in 13/4 is already... It's not 13/4, what is it? So it's like tick, toot, toot, tick, toot, toot, tick, toot, toot, tick, toot, toot, but there's 13 of those. It's the song that's on... It's Lake Massawippi. It's the song that Anne always wants me to play. So... You want to hear my like wannabe Death Cab solo looping material? Let's see that. Whoa. That's not it. I just put it on the wrong setting. What should I put it on for this? Yeah, let's do that. Actually, if I'm going to do that, I just need one little loop, huh? Yeah, there we go. Let's do that. Huh.
get through the year and never express what we both had feared? That everything once that we had fallen away like the maple leaves. Their green had deepened to red, with sorrow and words that we never said. And weak and afraid they let go to cover themselves with a mournful peace. And how did we get through the week before you decided to finally speak? And heard by the wind of the fall, I pledged by my heart I would never sleep. But cold came and crept through your feet. Sap disappeared and the blood ran weak down into the ground where it stays, well hidden away from the warmth of me. seasons collapsed and the world turned gray, and wrapped in our kingdom alone, your fear turned to joy and your laughter strength. We grew into one in that place, and beauty had never worn such a face. But dawn took your sight and you flew to bury yourself in the light again.
There. There's a song that I wrote. I wrote with my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law's brother, actually. We wrote that song together. We were just messing around with a looper pedal with his guitar, and I think he started doing. And then I was like, no, you should do something weird, like do it like that, and then like do. So I love this. You want to hear another song I wrote? I don't know. Let's do it. This is gonna be the one where I do songs that I wrote. I can't do all of them because like a lot of songs I wrote on guitar. And even this one was written on guitar. And is more properly done on guitar, but I think I can do it here. I just have to remember which parts of it are loopable. I do have a guitar, but it would take a bit of setup to get it. To get it hooked into the system and working. I don't know. Maybe we'll do the ones that we can do without it first. Let's see. I mean, yeah, I guess there's not much except the beat that I can do, and even that, it's just like it's just like a country thing, right? That's a little fast, I think. Let's slow it down. Does that work? Yeah, sure.
I laid a log across the Driscoll-Niller stream in the warming days of winter when the snow melts deep, and I said that you'd arrive and you wouldn't follow me. I can't breathe, but I can't be alone. And I laid it all out by the pond on Apple Glen, in a whisper that you wore as your face fell down, and your eyes they overwhelmed when I told you what I'd done. I can't breathe, but I can't run, and I will love most anyone you. Men will die, and hearts fill up, and I will try to put on love you. I lay you along your bed, and you sank into my skin. In the lighting through the window, your face was hid, and you said that you would like to keep me if you could. Swallows dive and foxes run, and I will love most anyone you. Men will die and hearts fill up, and I will try to put on love,
I gotta figure out how to loop that ending a bit better. But yeah, I feel like those are the two that can really be done on I don't know, be done on a keyboard. If you want to hear more of those, more songs that I've written, we might have to. Yeah, I wrote Birdwatcher, but I can't. I don't remember how to play it. That song's really weird on the picking, so it's a little hard to get to. Like I'd have to practice that one. In fact, most of the songs that I wrote on guitar. There's a song I wrote recently. Yeah, I could do it on the piano actually. I wrote it on guitar, but it's just chords. It's sort of like a Beatlesy thing that I wrote. So let's, I don't know, we could do that. Let's see if we can do that. Cool, that works. That work? Yeah. I've never played this on not guitar before, so let's have to see how this goes. All right. 1, 2, 3, and. Although I never told you, even now to tell you wouldn't do, you're so far away, and I've so far been the fool. The years have gone between us, in between the laughter and the pain, and now you are gone. I'm alone and it's a shame, and you say you want it all. I want it and you. Wait, what's the chorus? That's a weird keys. You want it all. I want it and you want it all. Oh man. Okay, I've forgotten this one. What is it? Hold on a moment. I gotta figure this out. It changes keys all the time. Good. It's a strange thing it does. Let's do that again. 4. Although I never told you, even now to tell you wouldn't do, you're so far away, and I've so far been the fool. The years have gone between us, in between the laughter and the pain, and now you are gone. I'm alone and it's a shame, and you say you want it all. I want it and you. No, I still know it. You want it all. Oh, I want it and you want it all, and I can't take all of the blame. Oh, I don't have it. Oh goodness. So that's what happens when you put me on the spot. That didn't work.
And you want it all, and I can't take all of the blame. There it is. Well, I know you feel the same. And while I never told you, you could never tell you that I knew you're so far away, and it so far still was you. The years have taken pieces. Pieces are the people we became, and now you are gone. I'm alone and it's a shame, and you say you want it all. I want it and you want it all, and I can't take all of the blame. Now I know you feel the same. We've taken too much time, lost hold of yours and mine. I never know that kind again. Although I never told you, even now to tell you wouldn't do, you're so far away, and I've so far been the fool.
That would have been a lot better on the guitar for sure. Because and on the guitar I've got it in muscle memory. But right here, not so. But the chord on Gone, yeah. Yeah, because it's like I don't know. I got really into Beatles. Like, there's a cool thing that happens when you're only working with major and minor chords. Like, I got really into jazz for a little while, and then I realized that, like, one of the things that makes the Beatles so interesting is that they can use, like, the ambiguity of a pure major or a pure minor, because a pure major can be like if you got too many extensions, then they all feel like they have to go in a very specific place. But you can, if you just have majors or minors, like it's hard to tell whether they're true majors or dominants or like what's going on. So you can do a lot of interesting things moving around. So like in this one, I don't even know the chord goes. So that's like the start of it is kind of right. It's looking like the doo-wop thing. But then I don't know what kind of modulation that is, but it feels like it's going to like it's gonna go like but you surprise it. And then you feel like, or if it's that, when it's like, right? That's something we've heard all the time. But to brighten it up and be like, oh, some are gone. Like, we're in major, because why not? And then that sets up like a, it's like a, you can set up like a 2-5-1, but like a bright 2-5-1 to the dominant. So it's like a secondary dominant, but it's like a major secondary dominant. So it's like you got all those like brightnesses. I don't know, but I actually think that I like the chord progression in the chorus more because it's really weird. You wouldn't think it would work. That's kind of a 2-5-1. It's like, oh, we're over here. We started in G and we wound up in G minor. How are we gonna get back? So that's just that's like circle of fifths motion. Do 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 boo. But it's all majors. It lets you get around to different keys really easily. And suddenly you can modulate from G major to G minor and back to G major again in the span of a chorus. So I don't know. I'm like playing around with these ideas. Not to toot my own horn. Should we do some Discord? Some Discord. I want to learn some cool facts. I was like, yesterday was was one where we got into like life in the universe and everything. So today, how about we just learn some cool facts and calm it down a little bit. Please clip that doo-wop sing in the chat from day 8. Day 8, man, so far back. Nathan says I've typed like 3 facts. That's pretty less. What does that mean? I don't really understand. Hey, look, I have a mouse now. I have a mouse for my. I was using a trackpad for my laptop, and it was really annoying to do things on the laptop because of that. But now I have a mouse. I have two mouses. This one is old and heavy. This one's young and light. It's like a baby mouse. What am I trying to do? Hey, there's my mouse. There's also my mouse. I was just trying to see both the chats over on the second one. 2 mouse. Are they called mice? Are they called, I always want to say mouses. I feel like like mice are for the fields. But if we're gonna have a mouse, a computer mouse, it's gonna be 2 computer mouses. It do be mice. Well, I'm gonna, you know what, Zach? I'm gonna rebel. I'm gonna form a linguistic rebellion and attempt some reform towards computer mouses. While I'm at it, I'm also gonna pronounce all the silent K's, because why not? Should we do an actual doo-wop? You know, you can make Heart and Soul so much better. People always think Heart and Soul is an awful baby song. I see a communist in the server list. Do you? That's not a communist. That's J-Reg. I don't know what J-Reg is. J-Reg is a fun figure to watch, is what J-Reg is. Daily discussion. Oh, what's your function? Daily discussion is to make me not have to think of things and have you think of them instead. Whoa, 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 Ellie Dilla. I used to have a trackball, but I constantly transitioned to using someone else's computer, made me switch back to normal mouse. That's the problem. That's similarly to what's going on. Makes me hesitate with switching to a Yanko keyboard. It would just be really really hard to play anyone else's pianos if I got really used to playing a Yanko. Okay. Tim actually pinned the message himself, says Alice, and that's a pretty cool fact if you ask me. I wasn't sure whether to, 'cause I know that you like to do it, but I decided to save you some work today. A tray with the first fact of the day. Oh, no, Alice had the first fact, but Trey's first fact was that Alice had the first fact. That's right, Slack, we're gonna sing. Let's see. Research by the University of Sussex shows why lavender flowers attract more bumblebees than honeybees. It's down to the bumblebee's longer tongue and abilities to visit flowers more quickly. Okay. Wait, I gotta actually parse this. Why lavender flowers attract more bumblebees than honeybees. It's down to the bumblebee's longer tongue and ability to visit flowers more quickly. The tubular flowers of lavender make nectar extraction harder for the shorter-tongued honeybee, which has to jam its head into each flower to get the nectar. Sweet. That reminds me of the first. It might be the first ever prediction that evolutionary theory made. It was Darwin who made. I think it was Darwin, not in Wallace, but I think it was Darwin who was looking at orchids, and there was this orchid with like an absurdly long, an absurdly long like flower pit, whatever you call it. What's the technical term for flower pit? So long that none of the observed moths or creatures would be able to reach inside this orchid and get its nectar. And Darwin hypothesized, based on evolutionary theory, that there must be a matching moth that was as yet unobserved, that had a tongue long enough to reach the bottom of the flower, and that fed probably fairly exclusively on this flower. And turned out he was precisely right. I don't think he lived to see it. I think that it was only discovered after he died. But yeah, that's cool. I guess lavender flowers are preferential for honeybees for some reason. Maybe bumblebees. Maybe bumblebees are better at, I don't know, better at pollen redistribution or something. Sweet. XKCD. So this is okay. Wow, we can actually. Interesting. I didn't know YAGPDB could do specific XKCDs. You just put the number and it brings up the XKCD. BDSM flowers. Take a shower after reading that comment. Let's see. By any reasonable definition, T-Rex is more closely related to sparrows than to Stegosaurus. Yeah, that's entirely true. It's 100% true. Birds aren't descended from dinosaurs, they are dinosaurs. Which means the fastest animal alive today is a small carnivorous dinosaur, Falco peregrinus. It preys mainly on other dinosaurs, which it strikes and kills in midair with its claws. This is a good world. It's not my fault, Radka. Zach gives the best comments. We could do a whole verse on BDSM flowers, I suppose. Sure, T-Rex is closer in height to Stegosaurus than a sparrow, but it doesn't tell you much. Dinosaur comics author Ryan North is closer in height to certain dinosaurs than to the average human. Is Ryan North really tall? I have no idea. Yeah, it's the same. I mean, it's by the same logic that people are fish, because we're more closely related. Like, we're more closely related to salmon than salmon are to coelacanths. Those are both fish, so we better be fish. Kangaroos have 3 vaginas. Really? I mean, oh, interesting. They don't have 3 vaginas. They have a higher genus Riemann surface vagina. So 1 punctured 2 handle body. Surface of genus 2,1. That's crazy. Joey travels down this one. Sperm travels up these side ones. Here's the opening. Wow. Y'all are hitting me with so far these facts have been about flower sex. I don't know, I guess just birds being dinosaurs. And kangaroo sex. And we still got BDSM flowers to look forward to, so it's gonna be good. Oh, Nathan, giving me the facts. look at these. Okay, let's check it out. This is Nathan's time to shine. Dropping them airplane facts. Let's check it out. The C-5, one of the longest military aircrafts, is longer than 6 stories tall. Its length is 143 feet, longer than the Wright brothers' first flight of 120 feet. I thought at first the Wright brothers had started with a 120-foot airplane, and then I realized no, that was their entire flight. We have a plane that's longer than the first actual flight was. There have been more astronauts than pilots who have flown the Concorde, which is now out of service. Concorde was a turbojet-powered supersonic passenger jet airliner that serviced from 1973 to 76 to 2003. Many consider the aircraft an engineering marvel, and I should add, an economic failure. It was an impressive engineering feat. It cost a lot. It was very fuel inefficient. But that's crazy. Was there just like one pilot? There were just like a few pilots who flew the Concorde and they like stayed for the entire run? Because there haven't been that many astronauts. I'd like the actual numbers on that. Nathan, if you have the actual numbers, you put them in chat. How many astronauts have there been? How many Concorde pilots have there been? Because astronauts can't be more than like, what? Like 100? I really don't know. Boeing 747 can carry about 60,000 gallons of jet fuel, which weighs 180 tons. Fully loaded, the 747-8 freighter weighs about 400 tons. The heaviest ever weighed 440 tons. All right, Nathan, I got another side question for you then. What is the maximum lift of a Boeing 747? Like, what's the if you look at into the engineering, what's the theoretical maximum lifting force? Could we load up one heavier than that? If we really tried? British Airways Flight 9, a 747 glided approximately 170 kilometers. Oh, I remember this one. After suffering from all engines flame out. Investigating showed the engines became clogged with volcanic ash, and the airflow was interrupted. Flames, passengers reported seeing shooting from the rear of all 4 engines were backfires caused by an improper ratio of air to fuel due to clogging by volcanic ash. Yeah, that'd be lovely. You're flying, you're 170 kilometers from the nearest airport, and you're, you look out and all the engines are on fire. Sean says, 566 people from 41 countries have gone to space, according to the FAI criterion. 574 using the US DoD criterion. Yeah, like people who go to, like, when Felix Baumgartner jumped out of that balloon, was he considered in space? Or do you have to be, like, because, like, space and orbit are different things. I guess you can't be in space if your balloon still holds you up. That's not space. The aircraft successfully restarted all the engines. Oh, it didn't actually land. I didn't realize that it didn't have to land like that. I remember that story of it flying, like, gliding 170 kilometers. It's pretty impressive. You can have no power and glide 170 kilometers, only falling from 37,000 feet to 12,000 feet. I wonder if they did they ride air currents? Popeye Pump says all the used nuclear fuel generated from 70 years of nuclear plants in the US could fit inside a Walmart. Hey, there's a plan. Let's just put it in a Walmart. Seriously, I think there's, I don't know, the nuclear waste thing. I don't know. It feels a little, overblown to me. Like, it's definitely a problem, but when people talk about, like, we have to figure out ways to store nuclear waste for 10,000 years, it's like, not necessarily. If you figure out a way to store it for 100 years, and a way that you can then take it and move it somewhere else later on. Like, as long as you can store it for 100 years, probably in 100 years we'll have a lot better ways of storing things, right? It's like if people were like, well, we have some problem that in the 1900s, like we have to make sure this steam engine can last 10,000 years. Like, no, it's gonna get replaced real quick. I think a cool fact is the Church Turing thesis about lambda calculus. Turing machines and Gödel general recursive functions all have equivalent computational ability. So any of them can determine what is computable. So not really a fun fact, but more like a fundamental theorem. I still think it's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't understand what lambda calculus is. I should look, at some point I'm gonna do like a computer science episode. And I'm gonna have to, I'm gonna get into that. And Gödel general recursive functions. I've never even heard of Gödel general recursive functions. I presume this is somewhere in Gödel-Escher-Bach, which I keep trying to read. But maybe I should read something that's less, like, wibbly. Gödel-Escher-Bach is like it's wibbly. Let's just put it that way. L.A. Dilla says, especially galling that there are people who think it's more important to shut down nuclear plants than coal plants. Environmental damage from coal outstrips from nuclear hugely. Yeah, it's just, there's never been a single coal disaster on the level of Chernobyl, right? It's in the collective. In my opinion, lambda calculus is much more expressive than Turing machines. Yeah, that might be a good way in then. I don't know, are there any that particularly map onto the way that actual computer architecture works? I guess most, like, standard computer architecture these days is it's sort of due to von Neumann, right? Like the idea of like the disk and the memory, RAM versus hard drive and CPU, like that sort of construction is I think due to von Neumann. But do you know if there's one of these that it maps onto more closely than the others? I mean, maybe it's a Turing machine. Maybe the RAM is the finite state machine and the tape is the hard drive. I don't care about whether it corresponds to physical hardware. Well, like, that's the thing, Alex, but, like, that's fine, but what I'd love to do, I'd love to make a video that, like, makes computers not magic. So it would be nice to have something that goes from, like from the hardware, like maps from the hardware to here's the simple mathematical operations that are being performed. So it can, so you can like bridge that gap. Because right now computers are kind of magic to me. Like, I'm sure I know enough to understand all the way down from high level coding to machine code to logic circuits, how it all works, but I haven't actually done it. And I think that would be really, really worth doing, bridging that gap, both for myself and for my audience. So maybe we'll see.
Error of 86 says if the sun were the size of a grapefruit, the next nearest star would be 2,000 miles away, 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 oh. The next nearest star would be over 2,000 miles away.
But if the sun were the size of a grapefruit, we would be the size of very, 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 very small things. And 2,000 miles would seem the equivalent of 3 light years. That is a good perspective, though.
All mammals, says Valderg, from the humble mouse to the mighty elephant,
get roughly 1 billion heartbeats in their lifetimes. There's a great Sean Carroll's Mindscape podcast has a great episode about that, where they trace it back to like these universal scaling laws. I need to look at that more because it was fascinating to hear about, but it's kind of like broad scale because it's not a podcast, right? Like these universal scaling laws. It has to do with the fact that bodies, like mammalian bodies, require a bunch of space-filling networks. Like within the body, you have one space-filling network, which is your blood vessels, because they have to visit literally every cell, or roughly every cell. You have a space-filling network of neurons that has to visit pretty much all your cells, and I don't know, there might be more, like the lymphatic system or whatever. But it's like the circulatory system is the important one for heartbeats. That determine, like, because space-filling networks have very specific properties. And so there's sort of these universal scaling laws you can use to come up with like precisely how fast a heart has to beat for a space-filling network of a given size. And then there are other scaling laws relating to just the overall like amount of cells in a body that correlate to like how long you can live, how long you can outrun aging and such. And there's like these two effects that cancel out, so that your little mouse has faster heartbeats and short lifespan. Your mighty elephant has slow heartbeats, long lifespan. Sometime I wanna swim through a blue whale blood vessel. People always tell me I can do that, and I'm like, well, if I can do it, show me the whale. Okay, Zach, we've gotten to Zach and the pollination BDSM fact. Scotch broom, Cytisus scoparius, an invasive plant in California and elsewhere, has a very interesting pollination mechanism. Rather than having the pollination bits open for any pollinator to reach, it has evolved a pedal that activates when what I can only describe as a bee butt smacking mechanism. It's activated if a sufficiently large bee lands on it, but not for smaller bees. When larger bees land on the landing petal, the flower bursts open and the pistils swing out and literally smack the bee on the butt. Often hard enough that it knocks the bee off of the flower. It ensures that the bee doesn't self-pollinate the same flower, and that a flower is effectively only pollinated once. And yes, it's both hilarious and adorable. That's pretty good. Watch this in action if you skip to 1 minute and 45 seconds. We shall 1 minute and 45. We'll go a little before. The bee. The bee has learned the trigger. Here we go. I'ma smack you. Smack your butt. Okay, but the bee stayed on the flower this time. That was a good showering of pollen. Bees on broom. Oh, it was a sufficiently large bee. Okay, honeybees get knocked off. But a sufficiently large bee does not. Okay. So it's also a preference for sufficiently large bees. But I'm confused about if it only works for large bees that don't get knocked off. I mean, it must knock off the bees sometime, because that's what your point of the second thing is. I don't know if I describe that as BDSM. I think BDSM requires consent. I'm not sure if the bee really consented to that. We might get to creative projects. We'll see. Ecans is snake backwards. Wow. AA Bowser. A man, a plan, a canal, Panama is a man, a plan, a canal, Panama backwards. That's true. Race car is also race car backwards. I mean, it's only a palindrome if you take it as like a punctuationless string, because otherwise it's a manap, lanik, nalp, nama, which doesn't sound as good. Here's a cool fact. Contrary to popular belief, helium balloons do not rise up into space. Is that a popular belief? The helium balloons rise up into space? Yes, they do rise, but they don't leave the atmosphere. They go to the level of the atmosphere where the buoyancy level induces equilibrium with the force of gravity. Yeah. Something I learned a couple days ago. Oh, y'all might like to know. Yeah, exactly. There is in fact a layer of the upper atmosphere that is helium. Although it tends to get blown off by solar radiation. No sane person imposes that rule on palindromes. Oh, Chanel. You take me for a sane person. Yeah, because it's gas, right? It's not like it has some magical anti-gravity force. It's just like it's like a buoyant thing. If there's heavier things above it, they want to be below it. Roald Amundsen was both the first person at the South Pole and likely the first person at the North Pole. Yeah, that's true. The first person after whom an element was named had nothing to do with it, nothing at all to do with the science. Mining engineer Vasily Samarsky-Bikovets. Is there a Vasily? I should know. I should know what element is. Is there a Vasilium? What element is that? I thought I knew all the elements. What's the name of the element? Was it vanadium? No. There's no Vasilium. Oh, samarium. Okay. Samarsky. Bikovets. Cool. Normal Borlaug. What? Maybe the single most influential man of this era, and all one must know knows his name. Developed nutritional food crops that are robust to grow around the world, and did more to end the world's hunger, which opened the door for almost all modern innovation to flourish. Interesting. I'm gonna have to look that up. I mean, I feel like that's that's also. I mean that might also. I would argue that if that person's influential, then like Haber is probably more influential. The Haber process. Without the Haber process, people figure that like the Earth's max population would be about 2 billion. Vaseline. Norman. Oh, Norman. Norman Borlaug. Okay. It's like, that makes more sense. I thought that was a weird name. What's the Haber process? The Haber process is, it's the process, it's the chemical process that converts nitrogen in the air to ammonia, allowing us to make artificial fertilizers. And like nitrogen fixing was the cap on food production for a very long time. And now it's not, because we can make ammonia. Yeah, I mean it's true. Originally Haber killed a lot of people too. Yeah, but less than, I would say probably less than 4 billion. I would guess that the explosives caused by nitrogen, the ability to fix nitrogen, killed less than 4 billion people, would be my guess. Man, look at all these foods. This is so many foods. Is this all the same person? Manifest aloha, manifest aloha, manifest aloha. Yep. It's just Catherine. Catherine putting crops all over there. Borlaug was also a controversial figure, but it seems a lot of that was racist. You mean it was controversial because of racism? Because Norman Borlaug was a racist? French-Polish composer Frédéric Chopin was able to improvise hours long without appealing to any music already existing, not even his own. Very few people had the chance to hear him, as he rarely performed in public, let alone improvise. But those that have been amazed by the sensitivity and beauty of his playing. From time to time, he transcribed and published one of his ideas. What amazes me is that most of the music he ever created is lost forever. Probably his best musical moments, as he was able to perfectly capture the ambient spirit wherever he was. I also read somewhere, hearing Chopin play the same piece twice is hearing two different pieces. Yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of, I don't know, if that's true of a lot of composers. Like in my own, I'm not Chopin. I'm nowhere close to Chopin. But I know that like the songs that I turn into songs are like, they're like marginally better than the stuff that I make up on the spot. I don't know if they're like terribly better. Like I'll just improvise and like chord changes around and like melodies on a guitar for like a couple hours. And I'll be like, well, that's kind of cool. Let's turn that bit into a song. And the rest of it is all fine. But it's like, I don't know. I think when I'm composing, what I'm looking for is like something I've never heard before. Like you can get to the point where you have a whole range of possibilities that like flood into your mind as you're playing that you can like mess around with. But you get used to them, right? They sort of become like your stock things. Like, okay, I'm doing this. I can take it in this direction, or this direction, or this direction, or this direction. And then when you find something that's brand new, like, oh, an original thought. I'm gonna turn that into a song. That's how I tend to do things, which is probably why I write so few songs. What's that? Nutella. No. I want to hear Chopin improvise. Yeah, I guess it was never recorded, huh? Okay, because he was feeding poor people. The racists said it would cause lesser people to overpopulate. Yeah, that was a real. That's really weird, because you generally overpopulate. Like the argument for overpopulation is we're gonna have more people than food. We're gonna run out of resources or whatever. We're gonna have so many people there won't be enough food, and then people will starve. That's not really an argument you can make if you're going the other way. It's like you're feeding too many people. Now there's gonna be more of them. and then you want enough food. Except that's what you're doing. You're making more food. This doesn't make a lot of sense. Hopefully some of Tim's improvisation has been saved somewhere. I don't know, live streams. So they're not, I don't know, they're not really good enough to save. Visual of Mars electric currents. First map of Mars' electric currents. Maven. So we got
Maven is a spacecraft that's orbiting Mars. It's been there since 2014. Maven, in this case, is an acronym. It stands for Mars, Atmosphere, and Volatile Evolution. And this gives a clue as to what Maven's real goal is. It's to study the top of the atmosphere and how the gases in the top of the atmosphere might escape from Mars away to space.
So the atmosphere of Mars must have been a lot thicker about 4
Mars
billion years ago.
probably
Today it's very cold and dry. And Maven is meant to understand the atmosphere as it is today and how it has evolved into this current cold, dry state.
One of the things
Hard to
we're
choose
trying to
between Timothy here
understand
and
with
Tom
Maven
Hiddleston.
is whether a magnetic field for a planet is important for regulating the climate or allowing the planet to keep an atmosphere. Earth
Tom
has a
Hiddleston
global
on stream.
dynamo magnetic field. Mars does not, but Mars has an induced magnetosphere. It has an induced magnetic field.
The upper atmosphere of Mars is being ionized by solar radiation. And so the electrons are being stripped from the atoms in the atmosphere.
Nice.
When that happens, it turns into what we call a state of plasma. This plasma in the upper atmosphere is very conductive. It leads electric currents to flow through it. Electric currents, they shape the magnetic fields that are around them. And that's actually how we see them with Maven. We take magnetic field data and we map it around the planet, and from that, the currents emerge. We've known how the currents flow in the Earth's magnetosphere for decades, but we don't know how that works around Mars. We don't know how it influences the interaction with the solar wind, because it determines how energy is flowing into the atmosphere, how it's transferred from the solar wind into the system. And that's what we're trying to do with Maven. When you just look at the data as it comes down, you're just seeing a little squiggly line.
I'd like to know more about what
essentially.
these
You're seeing the
pretty
magnetic
images
field
actually
strength
are.
and its direction vary as the spacecraft is flying through different regions. And so what you have to do is you have to actually map it to the planet and to this interaction with the solar wind. And then it starts to emerge that you have a drape situation where the magnetic field of the solar wind encounters the planet and it starts to wrap around it. And the reason it wraps around the planet is those electric currents that we are seeing.
The magnetic field in the solar wind is straight lines. You can think of straight spaghetti noodles, and it's flowing towards the planet, and those spaghetti noodles wrap around this basketball-shaped planet. And that's indeed what we saw in the data, the magnetic field lines draping around Mars as a planet. One thing that wasn't so expected was the specific configuration of the electric currents that we derive from the magnetic field data. If Mars is a ball here, it's sort of this cup shape on the day side that loops back on itself, maybe something that looks like this. What wasn't so intuitive to me was the directions of those currents and the fact that it wraps continuously around to the night side, and it makes this marvelously complex current system on the night side as well.
This is the first time that we've been able to actually map out the currents. So we can see where the energy is being transferred. We can see what actually forms the underlying mechanisms creating these induced magnetospheres that are not just common here in the solar system, they're 50% of the planets that have them, of the terrestrial planets. And if you want to understand how the atmosphere of Mars and Venus, why they're so different from the Earth, and why they're so different from each other despite both being non-magnetized, we need to understand their induced magnetospheres first.
So knowing how these global current systems are configured teaches us about how charged particles near the planet are going to move, both charged particles in the solar wind and charged particles from the atmosphere itself that are in the process of escaping to space. So now we can understand better where those particles came from, how they move near Mars, and where they're going to go next. That in turn teaches us about atmospheric escape from the planet and the history of the atmosphere over time. How thick has it been? How much has been removed?
Sweet. I don't know, a lot to add to that. That was cool. Isn't that is a bunch of cool facts. Thanks, Catherine. Sweet. Solar wind. Solar wind is crazy. I want to do a thing about will this stream be copyrighted? I don't know if it will. Tell me if it goes down. Tell me if the stream gets nixed, and then we lose these cool facts. It might. I don't know. NASA shouldn't worry about copyright, but they might. Generally, like every video that NASA releases is public domain. So I wouldn't think you have to worry, but I'm not sure. Hey, listen. Wow. Like I've used so many different NASA videos in my space animations, but I don't know. I mean, the thing is, whether even if it's public domain, it might have gotten into YouTube's automated copyright system because it's on YouTube, and then they might flag it as a duplicate. I'm not sure. Gumbledolf, the heaviest baby, weighed over 10 kilograms. Yikes! At birth. Was that a cesarean baby? I really hope that was a cesarean baby. The lightest, less than 2.3% of that, 229 grams. The oldest mother was more than 13 times older than the youngest, 74 and 5.6 years. Goodness. Record of most birthed children is 69. Wow. I'm just gonna leave that there, I think. I'm not gonna comment on that. Actually, those are not human mothers. Yeah. Yeah. People way on the ends of the bell curves. Oh, Louis, c'est vrai. Although Descartes is credited with the invention of the Cartesian coordinate system, Nicole Oresme had thought of it 3 centuries earlier and had used it to prove a physics theorem. Oresme is also known as the first to find a proof of the divergence of the harmonic series. Oh, cool. Nicole Oresme, I've never heard of him. Was he, let's go, hold on. We're gonna go look up Nicole Oresme, see who he was. Yeah, I think it goes without saying that nobody should be getting a 4-year-old pregnant. Like, clearly that record is set under terrible circumstances. Nicole Oresme. Philosophy. Nicole Oresme. Nicolas Oresme. Significant philosopher in the Middle Ages. Her influential works on economics, apologies for my yawns, physics, astrology, and astronomy, philosophy, and theology. Was Bishop of Lisieux, translator, counselor to King Charles V of France, probably one of the most original thinkers of the 14th century Europe. Let's see, we had cosmology. Discussed a range of evidence for warning against the daily rotation of the Earth on its axis. Astronomical considerations here maintain that if the Earth were moving and not the celestial spheres, all the movements that we see in the heavens that are computed by the astronomers would appear exactly the same as if the spheres were rotating around the Earth. Nice. He's a real Galilean, as in the style of Galileo. He rejected the physical argument that if the Earth were moving, the air would be left behind, causing a great wind from east to west. In his view, the Earth, water, and air would all share the same motion. Good stuff, my man. As to scriptural passages speaking of the motion of the sun, he concludes that this passage conforms to the customary usage of popular speech and is not to be taken literally. You know, those Middle Ages people, some of them were alright. So, you know, like, I'm talking about the Renaissance as like a moment. It was people didn't actually stop thinking, did they? He also noted that it would be more economical for the small Earth to rotate on its axis than the immense sphere of the stars. Nonetheless, he concluded that none of these arguments were conclusive, and everyone maintains, and I think myself, that the heavens do move, and not the Earth. Oh. Speaks of astrology. Livre de divination. Predictiveness. Sense perception. In discussing the propagation of light and sound, Oresme adopted the common medieval doctrine of the multiplication of species. What was that? Been developed by optical writers. Oresme maintained that these species were immaterial but corporeal, three-dimensional entities. What? That's like, I don't even know what to make of that. Most contribution to mathematics. Tractatus de configurationibus qualitatem et motum. I apologize for my anglicized ecclesial Latin. Quality are external forms such as heat. You distinguish the intensio and the extensio, the degree of heat at each point, and the extensio as the length of the heated rod. Oh, intensive and extensive properties. Dude was coming up with intensive and extensive properties in the 1300s. Bye, Nathan. These terms are often replaced with latitudo and longitudo. For the sake of clarity, Oresme conceived the idea of visualizing these concepts by plane figures, approaching what we now would call rectangular coordinates. So over the top. Alright, you talking about my Latin? Configurationibus qualitatum et motum. Amen. Sweet. Oresme developed the proof of the first divergence of the harmonic series. This proof, requiring less advanced mathematics than current standard tests for divergence, begins by noting that for any n that is the power of 2, there are n over 2 minus 1 terms in the series between 1 over n minus 2 and 1 over n. Each of these terms is at least 1 over n, since there are n. Oh, okay. I think I've seen this proof. Yeah, it's like, I think this might have been the proof that was presented to me. It's like you can just group terms of the, because the harmonic series is 1 plus 1 half plus 1 third plus 1 quarter plus 1 fourth plus 1 fifth. 1 quarter plus 1 fourth. 1 quarter plus 1 fifth plus 1 sixth plus 1 seventh plus 1 eighth, etc. I mean, even if you know, like people were getting stuff from, like back in the 1100s, people were already getting stuff from the golden age, like the Islamic golden age was coming in. Architecture did a huge thing where it went from like Romanesque architecture to like what is it? The one with the pointed arches. The whole revolution in that. Like it wasn't really punctuated equilibrium. It was just the Gothic. Yeah, kind of came to a head with the Renaissance. People had to chug away for a long time. Yeah. So you can. So with this series, you can group the terms so you get like 1 plus 1 half plus 1 half plus 1 half plus 1 half forever, and then it's like, well, add an infinite number of halves. You're not gonna get a closed answer. Okay. Nice. Okay. Ellie Dilla. 90% of Canadians live within 100 miles of the U.S. border. Yes. And the border is over 3,000 miles long. Canada is closer to the United States than it is to itself. That's a weird way to phrase that. Oh, interesting, Sean. Was it like the Mongol invasion that ended the Islamic Golden Age? I'd never been sure what caused the end of the Islamic Golden Age. June 4, today is Hug Your Cat Day. If only I had a cat. I was looking up CRISPR cats again, and I found a company that's they're working on a CRISPR medication or a CRISPR like treatment that you can give to your cat to edit your cat's own genome so it no longer produces the FeLD1 protein, which I think feels kind of roundabout to me. It feels like that's hard. Like gene therapies are still, I don't know. I guess gene therapies can be used, but Seems like it's easier to edit a single cell than to edit an entire cat. I don't know why no one's crispering these cats. Go, Radka and Kovu. Go ahead. Giggle at Tom Hiddleston or whatever it is people do. Dying over Tom Hiddleston. I'm not sure if dying in this context means laughing or lusting. I guess it could mean either. Sean L says the Horde would sack Islamic cities and come back a few weeks later to kill the people who hid. Came out to bury the dead. Jeez. Damn Genghis. Both, Tim. Both. Well, fine. I'm always losing people to the Toms in my life. Completely useless to know, but I labeled all my lectures with glitter pens. Makes it more fun. Says Amma. Also, some of my fellow students designed a new edition of Monopoly during quarantine. A frat version, to be precise. Go to Cake Stand. Go directly to Cake Stand. Raphael says if you sing the reverse lyrics of a song on the regular melody of it and then reverse, it will sound like you sung regularly on the reversed melody. Oh, yeah. Makes sense. I tried it on Entropic Time. I should make like an Entropic Time challenge where, like, hey, hello friends, submit to me your clips of you singing Entropic Time backwards, and then live on stream we'll reverse them and see what you sound like. Do you want to do that? You can do that. Oh, June. When you observe deep into this universe, you're actually looking back in time. Yes. Well, sort of. Yeah. How much you're looking back in time depends on your perspective. Because really, you're looking back along, a null line. A line of light speed, which is where 0 time elapses if you're traveling along that line. But if you're stationary, then you're looking back in time. You're definitely looking back into the past of the universe. Whoa. There's insufficient information to provide a meaningful answer. Fun thermodynamics facts. Second law of thermodynamics is more a mathematical law than a physical law. No, it's not, Alice. That's a lie. Alice, thermodynamics is real physics. How dare you disparage thermodynamics like that? Say it's just math. That's terrible. You're terrible. So it's Fun Fact Day? Yeah, it's Fun Fact Day. That in itself is a fun fact. What if we make a regular video then reverse it before posting? That's boring. That's... Anyone can sing forwards and then reverse it. No, the challenge is to learn the reverse. I can post my transcription of the lyrics. You can all just sing a verse. Maybe we can cobble together a version of Entropic Time where a bunch of people take a verse, they sing it backwards, we'll reverse it and put it together. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let's do it. Not anyone can sing forward. It's true, but anyone can say words. I will judge you on two facets. I'll judge you on many facets. I will judge your tuning. If you guys send me videos of you singing, I will judge them. I might refrain from as much judgment as expressing as much judgment as I have in my head, but I'm definitely going to judge them in my head. The Fear of palindromes. Ipophobia. I swear, the people who make up the names of phobias are just trolling. They're just pure trolls. It's like those people who come up with all the names for like parliaments of owls and things. They're just made up. Ipophobia. I'm not even completing that one. If you look at it, try to get it. Yes, and hippopotamonstrous esquipedaliophobia is a fear of long words. That's people are mean. Linguists are mean. The programming language, I mean, it's not linguist. JavaScript has nothing to do with the programming language Java. I've always wondered that. Thank you, the computer nerd. Why? Because I learned Java, and then I was like, hey guys, do I know JavaScript? And everyone said no. Okay, origami robot stuff. We have built origami-inspired robots that are smaller than a paramecium. Yes, we have. There are folded robots made out of DNA. Little molecular robots. You can like go across DNA surfaces. Little walkers. Boom, 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 boom. I didn't get to do that in Nanobot, but I read about it. Science is pretty great. I really like when you give me facts to explain. We're singing a song about the facts of life. About the facts of... Does it have something to do with the Boltzmann equations of gas? And the fact that Brownian in motion is a probabilistic thing? Laura's taking Alice's joke seriously. Oh, do we have DNA robots yet? I mean, it's kind of a robot. Yeah, look it up, little DNA nanobots. They're cool. All folded and weird. Ooh, I know that one. I was really surprised. Okay. Dumbledore says, despite being the second largest country. Hey, more Canada facts. Go me. Go myself. Despite being the second largest country, Canada does not have any peaks in the list of the 100 most isolated mountains. Longest distance to higher location. Anywhere in Canada. Everywhere in Canada, you are less than 800 kilometers from a higher place. Ha! Nice. Higher in the list are peaks in tiny countries like Lesotho, Samoa, Kiribati, Cape Verde, Sierra Leone, Micronesia, Malawi, Seychelles. I mean, islands. I feel like islands get an unfair advantage here, though. Because everywhere else is water. I'm sorry that Canada has land around it. I'm especially, like, this would not be true if Canada, if Alaska was part of Canada, which it should be. I'm hot take, cold, frigid Arctic take. Alaska should be part of Canada. It's got no business being up there. We're America's hat, and it's our weird ear muff. Ear muff should be part of the hat. Lol, yeah. I mean, I don't think we're measuring from the seafloor here. It's just that everywhere around any island is, it's gonna be sea level. So if you got a mountain on an island, of course there's not gonna have another mountain around it that's high. Okay. The whole law involves defining if your state and good laws of probabilities. So, Alice, I'm genuinely confused. Do you agree with me now? That thermodynamics is just math and isn't really much physics at all? Frickin' Tim. What did I say? What did I say? If you'd outbid us when Russia put it up for sale, you'd have it, but you did. See, Elidilla, that's the... There you go, being a capitalist about it. Oh, if you had more money than us, then you could... Why didn't you spend all the money you don't have on this piece of land? Why didn't you purchase Louisiana when we did? You could have had Louisiana, Canada. Think about that. Think on your sins. Oh, yeah. You can't own property, man. Property is theft. Property is theft, but taxation is also theft. It's pretty hard to... If you own anything, you're stealing, but if anyone takes anything from you, they're stealing. It's really hard to... It's hard to be an anti-centrist these days. Thing I learned today about palindromes. Georges Perec wrote in French a 1,400-word palindrome, which you can read. Goodness. The URLs, the palindrome. Of course, there's palindrome. Where will these Entropy Times vids be posted? I don't know. Should we make a contests tab? So it's not like a Entropy Time exclusive thing, but we could put like a contest or like a, I don't know, like collabs tab. We'll do something like that. We'll do like a collabs tab or a contest tab or a whatever it is. For it. I haven't run through this translation, my friend. Okay, let's look at this for a second. Trace l'inégal palindrome. Neige. Bagatelle. Dira Hercule. Le bruit repentir. C'est écrit né Perec. L'arc lui pèse trop. Lit à vice versa. Let's go to the end to see if the end works. Where's vice versa? Yeah, it starts in the middle of the word there. Fais pas rêver. S'y va, s'il porte, sépulcral, se repentir, c'est écrit, ne perturbe le lucre. Aridel, ta gabégie mort ni de la plage ni l'écart. I have no idea if that makes sense. I think you need a lot of weird vocabulary to make a palindrome this long work, and there's a lot of words there that I don't know. So. Hiddleston's offline. Oh, Kovu, I'm so sad for you. Something we found in Discord yesterday was Pinion. Apparently sounds funny on untrained ears. Okay. Perec also wrote an entire book without using the letter E, the most used letter in the French alphabet. Sequels to that book without using any other vowel. He and his Oulipo fellows. Oh, is Oulipo like one of these groups that just enjoy making really weird, restricted literature? Interesting problem. It's a way to keep yourself, force yourself into a new idea space. When you look back in time, you see a smaller universe because it's expanding. Well, sort of. But you see an expanded image of a smaller universe. So. Wow. Is there stream tomorrow? Yes. I think so. What day is it today? Yeah, it's Thursday today. There's stream tomorrow, Friday. I don't know what we'll do. I'm a hippopotamonstrous pupideliophile. My other favorite phobia is anatidophobia. The fear of that no matter what you're doing, somehow a duck is watching you. Yeah, people are just trolling at this point. They're just trolling with these phobias. Failed to pay your house bar tab, you go straight to jail. Wait, this says a little more info. But Emma, what were you talking about before? Oh, frat version of Monopoly? Oh. Oh, this is the frat version of Monopoly. Let's see. Go straight to jail. These are these people. Monopoly. Obey. This guy says obey. This girl says, I'm holding Monopoly, but I don't put things on my shirt. Syndicat members create custom Monopoly game. government is to have a monopoly on violence, but frat houses have to have a monopoly all their own. True function of the government is to have a monopoly on violence. What about fight clubs? See, this is almost a fight club. Just take rid of that one. 8 clubs have a monopoly on violins. Well, if you got a patient who's afraid of being washed by a duck, you just gotta make up a name for it. US-Canada comparison reminded me that Greenland is more north, south, east, and west than Iceland. Poor Iceland. Dwarfed by its larger neighbor. Sean, I'm a meta-anarchist in that I break the rules of Fight Club. Ooh, what are you gonna do? Fight me? Gumbledolf, an imposter who pretended to be the dead son of Ivan the Terrible, became Tsar of Russia in 1605. After he died, another imposter pretended to be the saved imposter. Convinced that man's widow gathered an army of 100,000 and attacked Moscow. When he was killed, a third imposter arose. False Dmitri II. Wow. Okay. Sidney Coleman invented the phrase tadpole diagram, and when the journal said they wouldn't publish it, he threatened to change the name to spermoids, and they publish in a rival journal. Oh. Comes he has the same journal choosing to hoof solitons over Coleman's quasi-particles. Quasi-particles we now call solitons and quasi-particles are both things, and they're different things. Quasi-particles are emergent particles out of multiple particles working in tandem. But at the time, were they both trying to take the name soliton, like the way that neutrinos were originally called neutrons, and then they repurposed the name for something else? Who was it that invented penguin diagrams? Because I remember penguin diagram. The penguin diagram was made on was so named out of a bet that a physicist, I can't remember which physicist it was, maybe it was Feynman, couldn't figure out a way to put penguin in their next scientific paper, and then let's pull up a penguin diagram. It's a Feynman diagram that looks kind of like arguably looks like a penguin, but see, here's the diagram. Looks a little penguin-y, right? But here's John Ellis. Oh, it's John Ellis. Okay. Like, I bet you can't figure out how to make put a penguin in a scientific paper. Oh yeah? Look at this diagram. Antibottom quark comes in, exchanges W, anti-top quark, goes around in a loop, gluon comes out, strange quark and anti-strange quark in opposite directions. Bam! Pengoid. I win my bet. Okay! That is gonna be all for today. Are we gonna sing about science? Not really. We're just gonna bring these back up. Gonna have a chill time. A very chill end to the stream. How was Hiddleston? Was that good for you? You really have to look at creative projects tomorrow, Tim. Yes, I do. Okay. Well, thank you all for tuning into this episode of Tim Looks at Random Things underneath the things. Okay.
Goodbye, Wachasik. Goodbye, Alan Metzger. Tell me who else is still here. Goodbye, Sean Ale and Alisang. Goodbye, Raphael and Jan Hoffman. Ali Dillawan. Biophile. Zach Sheeran and Kovu and Loris and Laura and Paul Jark, Emma Lyrical and Philippa Beckman and Alex Knaut and Jonathan Haywood and Irene Lotta and Isabel and Dragon the Water and Ann Smith, A.A. Bowser, Loris Shearer, Radka Mir Noddle, Zach Sheeran. Production stream today, yes. I'm gonna do a production stream, I promise this time. I'm actually gonna do it. But I might go for a walk first, because it's a really nice day. And I haven't been outside. I need to do that. By Gumbledolf, still giving me facts about Hitler's extravagant ex-nephew. I don't know why, but thank you for that. We're gonna stop now. We're gonna stop right now. See ya.